Black Men Cry Too is an invitation for men of color to feel safe to unpack their hurt and share their truth. This space was created as an invitation for men of color to feel empowered to know it's okay that they can cry too.
Peter.
What's up?
Remember when we pulled up on Scotch Porter at Target?
Yo, we did pull up in the good old Target for the good people.
How's it been working out for you, King?
I mean, yo, look at my hair. Like, I've been inside and my shit's still luxurious.
You are flourishing a little bit.
Yo, I'm trying.
How's it working out?
Yo, first of all, I don't need to go off with the cologne. Like, the Scotch Porter has the good fragrance.
Yeah.
Like, my hair grow differently, obviously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I got all of this and this. I gotta go to people who actually know black skin and black hair. Like, combing through my beard, feeling so much better.
Yeah.
The conditioner slaps. It's hard to find a product you could really trust. Like, everything in the lineup you could really use. So I started with the beard first, because that's it. I go start with hat on, and then I started with the hair. I said, all right. Then with the face lotion, and I'm just continually going down the list.
Okay.
The vitamins is definitely up next. Especially for the summer, because yo, we outside.
We outside.
We outside.
On this special episode of Black Men Cry Too, I'm sitting down with season 1 favorites yet again. Lucky me. Thank you, Jeff, Peter, and Sean, for coming back and sitting down with me today.
Of course.
Let's do this right. Let's do this on brand. I messed up last time. Let's take this shot to kick it off.
All right.
Salute. Too far.
Love you, B.
Thank you. Oh, I love you guys too. So to kick it off, first thing I want to know is 2020 has been a challenging year. And for people like myself, we are still facing that in 2021. With it being such of a heavy year, how many of you are in therapy right now or have ever done therapy? And if you are or aren't, why or why not?
I'll go. I am currently not in therapy, but I'm therapy dating. Like, I'm looking for a therapist to kick it with. It's really hard. Like, I've had a therapist since, well, my favorite therapist was my first one in high school. And that was by accident because I was showing my ass in this college prep program. After that, I just had really bad therapists. Majority of them was white. So it was trash. Like, they look at you like you're a hood movie. And it's like, now I'm trying to tell you, like, my life, like, just because you saw New Jack City once doesn't mean like I could just walk out and like, oh, niggas is dying in front of me. All right, now I could go to school. Like, it sticks. They didn't get that, or they looked at me as a charity case, and that's the hard part of trying to get through therapy. Someone's trying to be empathetic, but also help.
Yeah, I agree with that. To further that, so I'm currently not in therapy. I could talk about the things that I've been doing during the pandemic. That's therapeutic for me, but I mean, I've done therapy before. Most people also, you should look at your insurance because a lot of the times your insurance covers it. So make sure you do that. But, you know, piggybacking off that point, it resonates more if you can actually get a therapist that understands your plight or trauma, or you kind of have similarities in your background. And so from an empath standpoint and an empathetic standpoint, you can actually have those conversations. Someone can actually get it, right? I like to use the analogy of my dermatologist. So I had this, very nice Jewish lady as my dermatologist, but like she only knows black skin up to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. And so I changed my dermatologist to a black woman, really good. She's been on like Wendy Williams and stuff like that. And so my skin has been even better. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that, and nothing against, therapists or anything like that, but I would say my advice is to get someone who really understands you.
I'm currently in therapy. I've been doing therapy since November, so it's just like a critical decision I made just because I felt like going into 2021 we kind of like experienced a lot over the course of last year, and so I just wanted to start myself off fresh in mind. And, just give myself like a clean slate to really think different. And, just that opportunity to also renew whatever was emotionally baggage in the previous year. I didn't want to enter the new year with stuff that was carrying me throughout 2020. So yeah, definitely doing therapy.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, do you have a Black therapist?
Of course.
Is it
That was like the thing that I said to myself, with my experiences, I wanted a Black therapist. So I thought that was very key for me. Yeah.
Do you have a Black male therapist or Black female therapist?
I have a Black male therapist.
Was that something that you wanted as well? You wanted it to be a male?
Yeah. Like all of that was critical. For me at least, because I felt like my experiences, I wanted somebody who can understand me. Not to say that a Black woman wasn't going to be that. I just wanted someone who can just be, identical through experiences. Like, okay, you went through that too, so you have firsthand experience on things that I'm going through, not a secondhand experience from whatever perspective that might have been given. You know what I'm saying? So that was like part of the process of, just looking up the names, searching on Google, and I had people like refer me as well. So I went through this website called Open Path Collective, and that was like affordable therapy. I paid like maybe like $50, $60 for a session.
It's not bad.
So it's been very helpful.
I'm so glad to hear.
Yeah, appreciate you.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
With that, I kind of want to ask a follow-up question. It seems like our community the most gets backlash when we're looking for ourselves in specific industries. So in this scenario, looking for a Black therapist, and we get poached with the question, is that really important to you? How do you guys respond when people are challenging why you're looking for us in those industries? Like you had mentioned dermatology and a Jewish person.
I mean, it's natural. It's human nature for you to gravitate towards people that are like-minded or come from the same background, right? And so when people ask you it's important, absolutely. You don't challenge their beliefs or opinions. Like if you're Jewish, then a lot of times people group together in a Jewish community. Why should I challenge you on your beliefs, right? And so I would love to push the envelope back to people and help them understand that first and foremost, in that industry, there's not a lot of Black therapists as is, let alone male or female. And so if I'm talking to you and I can have a conversation that you don't get, what makes you think that a therapist that's their profession,
right,
like they don't get that shit either. And so like it's of course it's going to be important to me because I can only have a conversation up to X amount of like of a level before it's kind of just like, all right, I'm talking to a wall.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's important. Like, personally, I want a Black woman because if, like, I feel like if a Black dude held me accountable, I kind of would want to fight him.
At least you being honest.
Like, I'm gonna be
that
like,
is a true point.
I think with a Black woman, she could hold me accountable, but still have this nurturing foundation that she cares.
Oh, okay.
With and I feel like last year was really hard finding a Black therapist because white people found it trendy and like, oh, how can I break down my racism? Let's go to Black people.
Wow, I didn't even think about it that way, too.
So it's like, again, you're asking Black people to break down racism, which is unfair. But according to insurances and money and just accessibility, they're going to get there. They're going to get theirs. So we're still here struggling to have like the crumbs. And I'm saying like Black therapists is crumbs, but the other, which is unfair. Then we have to go to the white people and then feel like we need therapists for going to this therapy session.
It's also a knowledge thing too, because we use the term therapy so general, but like there's different type of therapists too, right? Like when we had a conversation one time and I was telling you about like there's a sex therapist. I went to like this event at a tech company and I was like, wow, I didn't even know about that, right? And I thought that was like really cool because that helps you explore challenges that you might face. And then like when we think about being a man and our trauma and like, some people go through unexplainable or unspeakable things, it's important that you know that there are other options outside of general counseling, so.
And I like how you said with being a man, and to ask my next question, how do you now view men, Black men specifically, on how you guys handle your emotions? Like, has your view and perception of Black men changed? And has your view and perception of yourself as a Black man changed?
I think this year has been like an eye-opener to the idea of vulnerability. A lot of conversations I have with a a lot of friends of mine and, you know, colleagues, it's like, you know, there's a brotherhood that forms from sharing my experiences and understanding like, okay, I'm not alone in my experiences. So what that does is, you know, it creates vulnerability around situations, which then opens doors for other Black men to be vulnerable. So it's definitely a shift happening. I think even when you look at social media, everybody's kind of like, you know, understanding themselves now because we're stuck inside, or some people outside, but it's not as active as it used to be. So there's some form of like tuning in and understanding self. And so I feel like there's definitely a shift taking place, and I've seen that shift with myself. I think before you can see it out in the world, you have to identify within you. So I've seen it with me like tremendously. And so just being able to open up more, kind of like create those safe spaces that are necessary, finding like, you know, people that you can trust with, just opening up and just having like that space to be authentic as possible. Like even right now, I feel like, you know, you see that. So I've definitely seen the shift, and I think it's something that's going to be either like a momentum where like people are going to like, you know, disregard it because some people may not be ready. But then I think it also has the power for it to kind of like create a momentum where we can now like see more of that. And I think it's necessary because holding on to things for so long can be so detrimental to your health, physically, emotionally, mentally. And as you get older in life, like you want to know that you're carrying like healthy traits of a person, you know?
That's a fact.
I think it's hard to kind of like navigate through this world and you don't really know like, all right, is this safe? Is this relationship safe for me to open up? Is this friendship safe for me to open up? Do I have family members who are going to embrace me? You know what I'm saying? So if it happens to be a thing where there's a trend happening, I want to see more of that. You know, I want to see more Black men be more open to creating a safe space, like not just opening up, but we need to create more safe spaces for Black men to feel comfortable to open up.
I feel like just us valuing life, just this whole pandemic and this whole quarantine, whatever, I feel like a lot of dudes got even more emotional. Like me personally, I'm an emotional dude. Like I always tell my boys I love them. Like,
bag.
yeah, like I'm good at my sad bag. I do. But like before like the whole quarantine, I wouldn't like FaceTime my guy friends. Now it's like I FaceTime, like I just want to see your face, bro.
Yeah.
Like how's you, like I want to see how you're doing.
I like that.
And like I make sure I let my friends, like everyone around me, I love them. Even dudes I just met, and like I feel a good energy. There's a camaraderie because like, yo, we all losing this game. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like there's no like you stand there, I stand here. Like I respect you from afar. Now it's like, what's up, brother? Like let's we in this together. And especially quarantine and know how COVID was messing up Black people, George Floyd. Like it was just a lot of just things that affected Blackness. So we just I personally and people around me has made a more effort to make sure like we're in this together.
I never thought about it like that. Like I voice memo and FaceTime all my friends, but I didn't realize that like that probably means a lot. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just a text. But I think for me, the trend that I've been seeing is that people are being more expressive.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, just like being able to vent. Because I have a really, really great relationship with my father right now. But when I was growing up, I didn't at first, right? And so like what I learned, like my father would bottle his emotions in, and I couldn't, like I had the birds and the bees talk with my mom before I did with my dad, right? And like, I didn't feel comfortable being around him because he didn't present the environment for me to express myself. And so I had to learn expression from my mother. And so being able to be like self-taught and go through these experiences, I think like the biggest trend now is that people are especially Black men are willing to experience more. Like I always promote self-care. Like I go get pedicures, I'll go to the spa, I'll go get a massage. Like I need that shit, man. Like I work my ass off. I can enjoy that. And so it's good to see more people really like being confident and go into a nail salon like, yo, I just need a pedicure. You know what I'm saying? Like I go in there all the time. They love me over there. You know what I'm saying? And so like I get the promo codes. But people
He's like, I'm good at any nail salon.
but like if you think about like maybe like 10 years ago, people would be like, yo, you like what? You know what I'm saying? People that put their hood on and like, I'm going with my girl, use the excuse. No, I'm going by myself to take care of myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to have an excuse for anybody. Like it's important that you take care of yourself at the end of the day.
But that's that toxic masculinity right there, right? That's that that's what you're doing? Like, oh, that's normal.
Yeah, that is.
Right.
You know, it's a thing nowadays where like we have to redefine masculinity in terms of 2021. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that you hold people accountable for back then is not gonna, you know, it's not gonna measure up. And I think that nowadays, like when you see people kind of like just, you know, just going through life extremes, you know, people just have moments where you don't see them tweet as much on social media, or they're not as visible in real life. You're like, yo, what happened with dude? Like, where's son at? You know? And I think that creates like this momentum now where, you know, people feel ashamed to even open up. Like they feel like, damn, like if I open up, does that make me like, you know, buns? Like, am I pussy for that? Am I soft for that? Like, am I somebody now who goes through life and I can't tap my bro over here to be like, yo, can I talk to you? Like, I just need somebody to listen. I got to vent one time. Because you stick with all of that inside and you trying to figure it out for yourself. And like that right there is not healthy. Like you wake up in the morning feeling anxiety. You go to work feeling anxiety. You get off work, you dealing with things on a level of like, all right, where do I go now to be right? Where do I go now to feel normal? Like, where's the normalcy and everything? And, you know, if I could just say like with me personally, like just seeing people in life go through their own trauma, like that was the momentum that shifted me to go to therapy, because I saw a lot of people going through it. So it was like, I'm not alone. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going through it and I don't have to carry this. Yeah. So let me figure out myself right now. You know, even if I can't vent to people or people are not like emotionally available, let me take it upon myself to be accountable for myself, you know? So yeah.
I'm going to come back to that, but you made me think of Peter's episode. And Peter was the lucky one to be the first episode of season 1. But in dropping his episode and dropping the platform, we lost Kobe.
Yo.
We lost Kobe days after I dropped that I'm doing this platform. And we lost Kobe the day after we celebrated Peter's 33rd birthday. Peter, how did that feel in that week to be 33? We already lost Nipsey. And you were the age that we lost Nipsey at, that you just turned.
Then right after we lost Pop.
Right. It was just ups and downs. But what was interesting around losing Kobe and sort of kickstarted the momentum, Black men were openly grieving.
Yo.
Black men that didn't even know Kobe were openly grieving. We all didn't know how to feel like this is one of our own. We've never had a conversation with him, but he's one of our heroes. And we're broken. We're distraught. We don't know how to feel, but we're feeling, and we're showing that we're feeling. We watch strong men break down on camera and not care.
It was different. Like, I was hugging niggas I never met because, like, it felt like we lost a mentor, like, just in life. Like, just collectively, Black men lost someone, and, like, he wasn't the perfect man. Like, we all know. But the fact that we saw him grow, break down, grow, like we saw different levels of him, and as private he was, we still saw enough to connect with him because he was in my daily life. Moesha, he was a rapper. Like,
we don't have to talk about that.
COVID, yeah. But like he was a part of my life, like, and it was weird. And like after that, then the quarantine, Pop died.
Pop died before quarantine.
Yeah, like Pop died in quarantine, just Black
after or something like that.
Yeah, next month he died in. Yeah, because it was February.
It was hard for me to celebrate. Like I was at brunch when I got the alert, and then I went to the bar and got really drunk with a bunch of people. Like we was all getting drunk. And I was like, it's not even my birthday no more. We celebrating Kobe tonight. Like this is it. It still hurts, and like I wasn't even like the biggest Kobe fan. But just him being him, it hit Black people differently. And that was the moment Black men was like, we could grieve. Yeah. I feel like that was the moment publicly Black men was allowed to grieve. Because you can't be called less of a Black man when one of the greatest basketball players die. And I always have to give a shout out to Allen Iverson. Because he's always been publicly emotional. I've always looked at Allen Iverson, and that's all. When I treat my friends like Allen Iverson would treat his people.
I like that.
Because he always showed love. And the moment him and Dwayne Wade embraced, I broke down. It was the saddest shit ever to me.
I think him and watching LeBron get off the plane and that long walk and how sad
off
it
the
was.
Laker plane.
And breaking down.
Plane, they know.
It it was, like I said, it was the first time Black men, we all collectively said, yo, fuck the optics. We sad.
Yeah.
And then to go back to you, Jeff, you had mentioned also before, like removing off of social media and then wondering if people are good. You sort of made a rebrand with yourself in 2020.
Yeah.
And you focused more on self-care. You focused more on your journey of healing and finding therapy. What was your defining moment for you? Like, you know what? This is the journey I'm going to embark on now.
Oh, man. I think it was just like, you know, in a way, like I became more aware of just everything that was happening, and it was like a domino effect. It was like one thing after the next. You know, I work in education, so it's like seeing the difficulties of how we're going to now go back to work, and then having that trigger my anxiety, and then dealing with like the ins and outs of just family structures, like things that's going on in my family. Like I seen my parents get older, like that's really weird in a way. So, you know, you think about time and how much time you have. And, you know, I lost 2 family members during the time of COVID. So that was really harsh. And then not being able to have a sense of closeness with people that you really care about. So, you know, it was just a lot of social distancing, and I was just going through a whole, you know, situation of like, all right, does it even make sense for me to be doing photo shoots right now? Does it make sense for me to be telling people, you know, pull up, let's get some work done? So now I became more conscious of other people, like being more empathetic. And it's like, you know what, I really don't need to be doing this. And then because I had so much time on my hands, it was just like, all right, let me now put more time into me, because a lot of my work is like getting the photo shoot done and editing and, you know, going through everything, doing retouches, and then, you know, sending it back to the person, sending them invoices. And it's a lot. Like freelancing could take up a week of time, and I'll probably have like one day to recharge, and then I'm back at it, you know? So for me, it was like, all right, now that I have so much time on my hands, what do I do? So that was like the start of everything. And since then, this is like back in the summertime. So I started like doing simple things like, you know, drinking more water, waking up early on time, being more active outside, you know, and then that turned into healthy conversations with people that, you know, I just cherish a lot. Checking in. Hey, how's everything? How's your family? We definitely did that.
Them.
Exactly. So then what that did was checking in with friends started to be like checking in with family, doing Zoom calls. And then like up until this time, like I just been like reading books. Like I've been trying to like, you know, read a book a month. So that's been like my challenge, you know, to myself, like just get a book done. Like no matter if I'm in the mood to read or not, like if I'm on the train, like even today, I brought my book, you know, my headphones died on me. So I'm like, all right, now I got a book to read, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, you know, let me just try to get some type of, you know, productivity through self-care. And then that became very helpful with giving people game. Like, oh, this is what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like challenging myself as a creative to not do photo shoots. I now have time to be creative outside of the bubble of what people see me as. And so now that became like, all right, can I actually brand myself as something outside of photography? So that's like my challenge for this year. Like I want to be able to like take a lot of experiences that I've, you know, been able to collect over the years and see how I can now push that as, you know, something outside of what I've been doing or what people know me as. And that has its challenges too, because, you know, as you're rebranding, you're thinking about like, all right, are you going to be accepted for this? And then it's like also a thing where there are people that want me to stay on this level of a photographer. They don't want me to grow outside that because they're comfortable seeing me here. Or at least for what it's worth, like they're comfortable using me for this, you know?
That part.
So it's like, for them, it's now like, all right, how can you now utilize me as a creative outside of what you already know me for? And then like, I'm not really worried about being embraced. Like I'm really like in a mood where if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? And I've always been that way. But I feel like it's even more now because there's a part of me that doesn't want to separate myself from the art. Like I want that to be one, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to be my authentic self no matter what I do. Like no matter what room I walk in, who I am at work is the same when I walk into a creative space, when I walk into any situation, like I'm me, like this is me. This is one version of me versus having to put on a sense of like, you know, all right, I gotta be, this is me. It's not,
with my friends.
It's not something that I want to manage anymore. Like, I don't want to manage that no more because it's very exhausting to show up differently for people when this is me all the time. So it's like, all right, let me just kind of like give myself that grace to say, okay, what I didn't know before, I know now. And then lead by example by being who I need to be for myself so that other people probably could see that. And, you know, I want to be able to know that no matter what I do, no matter what I touch in life, I'm being my authentic self in that moment. Because this is who I need to be for myself no matter what, you know?
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Preach.
Yeah.
It's similar to your episode, Sean. If you remember, you spoke about how you don't like code switching and how you show up and you're standing in, this is who I am. I'm not a ball player. Don't call me a ball player. Like, stop having these stereotypes around me, which has been interesting enough because I've met you in a work environment and I can gather that from meeting you in a work environment, even though I didn't like you when I first met you. But, you know, that's besides the point. We're here now.
That's
you know?
a different story.
We're here now. That's all that matters. Yeah. But in your episode, you were in a relationship. And relationships were another part of the pandemic. We all viewed relationships differently. We all really dove into the idea of relationships. And now you are no longer in a relationship. And we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah. Where do I start?
We're not going to get to the Nobody's dirty laundry. But how has that played into changing your mindset around relationships?
I don't know. I feel like we all have to realize that we're human, right? So, like, you got to acknowledge your emotions first. And, like, some of the biggest things I realize is that, like, I feel like we're too afraid of the word failure or things not working out, where it kind of switched my mindset to realize that sometimes things in life are just misaligned, right? It could be the wrong timing. It could just be this person is not right for you, right? And so we have to learn how to transition into everything being a life lesson. Yes, it's time spent. Yes, you had fun. Yes, you might have loved this person, but at the end of the day, it's like you have to start doing what's best for you. And I felt like I was at a point where I was giving 1,000%, right? Like, just trying to be enthralled in her life and just ingratiate, do everything that you need me to do. But I felt like I wasn't getting that reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that all your friends or family love me, but you don't take the time to really get to know, like, my side of my life? And it feels like, and it was kind of turned against me, like, well, you do things on your own. It's like, no, like, I want you to do these things, and you're not taking that initiative, right? And so for me, that kind of like really fucked my mind up, because it's like, yo, what am I doing wrong? And I realized I wasn't, like, I mean, I can't say that there aren't wrong things that I haven't done, but in terms of doing like setting strong foundations and trying to scale that, it fucked me up, because I was doing that efficiently at a high clip, at least on my end. That's, or from an outside perspective, I don't know, but on her end. And so I took some time really to, like, during the pandemic and everything, to really just like heal and really understand myself. And it's like, I've always been like a very self-aware person. And so we had to take, I want to preface this by saying everybody has their own methods of dealing with shit. And so I can't tell you what to do. My advice would just be focus on things that, one, make you happy, not as a distraction because you genuinely want to do these things. If you are looking for distractions, you are not solving your problems. You are band-aiding them. Mm-hmm. And so if you need to cry. If you need to talk to yourself. And that goes back to, like, you know, things that I've done during the pandemic that are therapeutic to me. It's like, I go on hikes all the time. You know, I've been picking up different activities that I've always wanted to do.
I thought you were going to say I've been picking apples. You like, shout out to pears.
Nah. I'm not no Farmer Brown or nothing like that. But
could be Rick Ross. Rick Ross loves his pears.
Who the fuck picking pears by themselves?
You don't pick pears. Nobody picks pears.
I mean, I'm not against it, but I'm never say, yo, my nigga, let's go pick some pears.
Yeah.
You know what? Our next outing, we picking pears.
I'm with it, but like, That's new. People
Picking pairs with my friends.
We gonna make it a movement. Y'all heard it first here. Black Men Cry Too. We picking pairs.
I think the most important thing, though, especially being a black man, is just like we have in relationships. I feel like black men are looked at, and again, they could be doing something wrong. Half the times they might not be doing something wrong, but I feel like black men are looked at as a villain always. And so to have that stigma on you, like that target on your back, like you have to walk on eggshells in relationships. At least I felt like it. And the biggest thing after that was realizing like I didn't have to do anything but just be me. Like if you genuinely care for someone, they're gonna give you that energy that you put out. You're gonna get it back. And so honestly, like just doing whatever you need to do to just push yourself forward. You know, healing it's hand in hand with self-care, right? Because if you suppress those emotions or trauma and not deal with it, like let's say, for example, if timing was the issue, right? If you came back together and were like, oh, let's try this out again, the same shit is going to happen. And so you need to be able to solve your problems on your own too. And I think that's the biggest thing for me that I learned.
That's deep. I like that. If I can ask you all a question, being how open and honest you all were in your like self-discovery, and the three of you are very self-aware, there's a misconception that having these types of conversations are not a misconception, there's truth to it, very uncomfortable. It is very uncomfortable to be vulnerable. It's very uncomfortable to be vulnerable with strangers. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to be vulnerable with your own peers, family members. What made you guys say yes to sit on screen, be vulnerable, and then have this shared with the world? Anyone can view this at any time.
I'll go first. I feel like media in general, like just being in front of the camera, being behind the camera hasn't been like a challenge, but for me to be in front of the camera in that way and be seen that way, it was a challenge I wanted to take on because it was something that was new. And it was an opportunity for me to just see myself differently. I feel like what I do involves a lot of vulnerability because photography in itself is an honest trait. It's taking the time to kind of like, you know, create concepts around things that I feel like I connect with, shoot with people I connect with. So everything is a vulnerable state in some capacity. But I will say that there was, you know, moments where I was just kind of like hesitant to, just be who I needed to be. Because I'm like, all right, will this be embraced? Will that be embraced? But I wanted to like trust myself. I wanted to take this on as a challenge. And saying yes was partially because, you the homie, you know what I'm saying? So that's number one. But then, to answer the question, it was just a challenge for me to see myself differently. So that's why, I went ahead and did it. And I'm happy to be here. I'm glad I made the decision to do it. And I think that at the end of the day, life is about challenges. So whenever I meet with something, I try to see it through. I try to see how I can like take that on and apply that. Yeah. Yeah.
I was the first episode.
Where?
I was.
And I didn't tell you till then.
The pilot.
Yo, she ain't tell me shit until like, yeah, we dropping like next week. I'm like,
I was like, I'm dropping for your birthday, right? Happy birthday.
That's lit though.
It was weird as fuck. I loved it. Don't forget, because you asked me, I said, of course I'm gonna do it. I joke about sadness and darkness. Like every comedian has like a comes from a dark place. That's my humor. Like I've joked about suicide. Like I'm with the dark jokes, but having a full conversation about your sadness, it was something I had to step out of. And I talk, like I do podcasts, like I'm a talker. But going deeper into certain these places that I've only had these conversations with like you or just like people that I care about, I felt ass naked in front of the world. And when you told me like the response to it and people hit me up like, oh, this was really good. Even like an old coworker asked her to pull up to talk about Black Men Cry Too she saw my episode.
For a college.
Yeah.
And specifically because the college asked, why aren't we speaking about Black men when it comes to mental health? So I always thank you for that connection as well.
That's what's up.
It was so dope. Like, I was like, me? It was, people saw me and I portrayed myself. I tried to be vulnerable, but people saw me at like my most vulnerable. And plus having like my friend, and I had Puma with me. So having people that I really care about, and plus had the team, like these are people individually that are always respected.
Right.
So it was a safe space.
Yeah.
And we got into dark things, but still I didn't leave a dark person. Like I didn't walk away with the things we spoke about. It felt like a release because all these things happened in the past. Today I don't have to carry this because I'm with people that I highly respect and care about their well-being. So thank you for the safe space, and just thank you for having the people around you for just holding me down and allowing me to be so vulnerable.
Yeah, that's real. Because first and foremost, I appreciate you for creating a platform because there's not too many like this. And so the reason why I wanted to do it was I wanted to change the narrative of
Love that.
of how we need to handle mental health, how Black men are depicted, things you could do to educate yourself or try and change, like be that resource or beacon to, like, you don't got to do exactly the shit that we talk about, but like make it your own, you know? And so like for me, again, my friends will probably tell you, like, a lot of them confide in me for personal issues because it took me a while to like understand myself. And I had to do that and navigate those waters by myself for the most part until I learned how to like lean on family and resources and things like that. And so like growing up, like I come from a family, I have both my parents, but like that's like people be like, oh, you come from both your parents. That don't mean that's enough. You know what I'm saying? Like that don't.
Like people think you're privileged.
Yeah, like that don't mean shit.
In a sense, you are, but it still doesn't take away that you still experience trauma.
But I could have a father, but if he just not really a presence in my life, what does that mean? It's like the same thing. Not.
It's the grass always looks green on the other side.
Right.
Exactly. And so like a lot of people don't know that like I was very intimidated by my father. Like my father is an intimidating figure, and it's not his fault. Like he had his own trauma with his dad, and he's trying to be the best dad in his own way. And like it took me like older to see that, and I started having conversations with him and helping him understand where I'm coming from, and like I'm not trying to pick up bad habits. So like how can we iron this out? And to the point now,
unlearn and relearn.
And people think like, oh, this is an old generation, they can't learn. Like that's not true. Like my parents, like they pay it forward, but we pay it back. And like they talk about like my father tells me all the time. He's like, son, if I could come back as somebody in life, it would be you. He's like, you motivate and inspire me. Like the things that you do, like
that's beautiful.
Like I travel and do so many things, and I to me or to us, like our generation, that's kind of normal. Like for them, that's not. And so this platform is beautiful to change the narrative and like help people understand, like, don't judge a book by its cover. Like I have, I had two sisters, both my parents, but like people don't know that, like, I lost my sister to like drug overdose. You know what I'm saying? Like I have family that's been behind bars, who've been killed, like I had to learn how to deal with all that shit. And for you to just think that like, oh, this person's good, he educated, like, or like, oh, you have a great job, or that don't mean shit. Like, and so to Kat's point, why she didn't like me, right,
we're past that now. We're besties.
It's like I'm very to myself, and so like I give my time to people I feel that are authentic too. And so like if I have to fill you out, because I can't just, again, I'm not going to be like, oh, we're at work, so hi, how's it going? Like if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. I'm not saying hi to you,
and I don't have a reason to.
Exactly. Right. And people can have whatever perception they want of me, and me personally, I don't care. But it's important that you, one, be authentic, and two, we need to start changing the narrative as Black men to make sure that people understand that like it's okay to think about the things that you do. There's no like, as long as it's morally like right, first and foremost. But like it's okay to have a conversation about that. It's okay to be like, yo, bro, like yo, let me take you out to lunch. Like, I haven't seen you in a long time. Like, I do that with my friends all the time. Like, yo, I'm gonna pull up on you. And so I think this has the potential to help people understand that it's important for you to kind of just maintain relationships and grow as a person.
Well, shit. What else do I gotta say? Someone said it for me.
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah.
I do want to thank you guys once again for being my pilots, saying yes. For those that may or may not know, Jeff recorded Peter and Sean's episode for the first one. So he was behind and in front of the camera.
That was a blessing. I appreciate you for that.
Thank you for, seriously, thank you all for saying yes. Thank you all for sharing your truth.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for changing the narrative. Like, it's through the work of us, and I hope us collectively can continue combating this battle.
Well, I have a good question for you real quick. Wait, before we go here.
Oh, no.
You started BlackMenCryToo, of course, as a passion project. What has been your response to it from non-Black people, like from the outside world? Because I remember we had conversations about your father, which I think was one of the best episodes personally.
Thank you. I've heard that.
And where do you see it going?
Haha.
All right, y'all gotta stop putting me in a hot seat. Like, I asked y'all to come here, but cool.
Come on, I podcast. I do this.
The response from non-Black people has been more so first for me with coworkers. So at the time I was at our old place of employment when it first launched, and my immediate team was very supportive and responsive. They asked questions, they tuned in, they gave their feedback, and they talked about how their perspective has changed, or like how it opened their mind up, which that's also the purpose too. Like, yes, this is to help us as a community and as a culture, but instead of having our white counterparts always running to us because we're the Black person they know to be their cheat sheet, well, tune in and freaking watch it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and give you a history lesson. We got 20 episodes now up on YouTube. Season 1 and 2 is now live. Go ahead and take it.
Go support it.
Do it on your own.
Yeah.
Do it on your own.
Talk about it.
Okay? And subscribe while you're at it. But having that response, or even at my new place of employment, still that same support, and the questions are different. It's not teach me, it's okay, now I have specific questions, or okay, now I see how specifically I can change in my life. What does being an ally actually mean? And that's the response I've had. Like,
the questions is more intentional.
Yes, more intentional. They get a deeper understanding. Certain questions are now not being asked, or certain statements aren't being said. Like, the reason why I had my father on the show was, it is called BlackMenCryToo. My father isn't Black. I have a white man as my father. So it was me jumping ahead of anyone asking me that question. I'm still identifying as a mixed woman. I don't denounce my race. I don't denounce the fact that I'm Italian. My last name is Italian. How can I do it? But at the end of the day, the world sees me as a Black woman, and I show up as a Black woman. And if white people are okay, but my Black side isn't okay, why am I rallying behind the side that's good? Let me rally behind the side that's not okay. Let me use whatever privilege I have and identify, I still have a privilege. You have a privilege. You have a privilege. We all have some form of privilege. Let me use mine the best way I can for what I have. And it's sort of teaching that to the allies as well. You have the privilege. Let it go. Like, stop crying fake tears. You have privilege. You can use your privilege properly and not have that guilt for having a privilege. It's okay to have privilege. How are you using it? That's when it becomes okay and not okay. Where I see it going, hopefully, God willing, whoever is listening to this, being picked up by a network and furthering the conversation to the point where stating creating these safe spaces for Black men. Can we have more physical spaces for Black men that are safe? Can we have more digital spaces for Black men that are safe? Can we have
Black women?
And women.
Yeah.
Can we have a place where I can walk in and I need to get my mental health checked? I need to get my physical health checked. I need to get my emotional health checked, all in one place. And it's run by people that look like us. That's my big goal. Can I see that happen? Can I have you guys pull up to the website and you can find a Black dermatologist? You can find your Black therapist.
That'll be fire.
You can find all these things
Dr.
that
Downey,
we need
Montclair.
in our industry.
Absolutely. I look forward to stuff like that.
Yeah, I love it.
I love y'all.
All right. Love it.
And with that, you can tune into all of their episodes and the other episodes on YouTube with BlackMenCryToo, TOO. Like and subscribe, as well as Instagram and the website. Thank you all again.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
you.
us.